What's going on, everybody? Are you hearing me? Is my mic working? That seems to be a problem lately.
Yep,
All right,
totally.
we are we are here. We are doing another episode of the Watchers nondescript version, and we have a cool guest that we're gonna just go ahead and jump right into it with, and we're gonna let him introduce himself and learn about what he's doing.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Carter Daniel. I always dreamed of being a filmmaker, and now I am one again, but I've been retired for 5 years. Basically, COVID hit, and, dreams get dashed and whatever realities hit, and I just decided to step away from it. But I've been acting these last few years, just randomly. I've always done acting. I've backed movies financially, I've produced stuff here and there. And I really wanted to get back into directing because some of the projects I was in, I was like, the directing could be better. We could do cool lighting. I'd never done like lighting or lenses or like really cool stuff. I always wanted to with the iPhone. So basically, at the start of this year, I wanted to direct again. And I said, hey, I play two characters in this one short film or Batman fan film we did last year called Kingpin of Gotham. And I play both Harvey Dent in it and the Fish, who's a new character, who's just sort of a goofball criminal. And I wanted to make short films on the both of them because there were scenes we didn't get around to filming for that project. And I was like, we didn't get a Rachel Dawes and we didn't see what Fish was up to before he died. So I made back to back, spent my own money, just hired people. I just wanted to see if I could still direct. I made two short films that are on my YouTube channel, Fishtails, Zero Hour, and then Dent. And they're kind of released weird because Zero Hour came out first, but takes place kind of after Dent. But they were put out on his channel, and we sort of had there's been some friction since, maybe some jealousy. So he suggested I move them to my channel, and that's where they've been. And Dent has now like 3,000 views. Fishtails is kind of a harder sell, and it's got like 500, but I'm pretty happy for shorts I made for fun. And people have liked them so much. They've told me that like I'm talented. I should keep doing this. I really feel strongly about directing, and I wanna have three more short films that sort of wrap up this little Gotham side story that's got Harvey Dent stuff, but also a lot of original new characters, especially this next one I'm doing. And then I want to get back into making movies. I want to direct movies. I made one movie when I was 19. I raised 10 grand for it myself. We made the damn picture. It was so much fun. But then I wrapped editing right around COVID, and I still have it. It's actually cool. Zero Hour and Dent are actually kind of sequels to it in little tiny ways. There's little characters, little mentions, little things. It's not technically in the same universe. It's a like adjacent universe. It's kind of complicated. But I want to actually put Violent Justice out, my first movie next year, once I'm done with all these Gotham stories, so people get this little like prequel movie that no one really ever knew existed that fills in some stuff. I mainly two movies I want to do. I want to do a Giallo and a found footage movie, and I want to make those like really good, like really based on those genres and really get them right, like down to the casting, the lighting, and everything. So that's basically my next few years, wrapping up the Gotham stuff, which I'm not even a big Batman fan. People think I cast myself as Harvey Dent or that I love Batman, and it's like I think Batman's cool. He can be awesome, he can suck. I think Gotham as a world is creatively just so rich and so cool. And I've fallen in love with like this little corner I've created that I thankfully get to expand on. But pretty much, yeah, I write, direct, I star in these, which I didn't want to do if I ever unretired because that'd be a hassle. And I do it now out of necessity, and these are short, so that's technically not moving. But I've also started acting because through Dent, I met this actress, Marley Arnold, who just really blew me away. She was incredible. And I started like looking into stuff she's been in and these people, and I got to know some of these people, and I've now been on a few sets. I'm getting pulled into other cool little filmmaking circles. Uh, Starting 2 months ago, I think had a shoot every week, and almost every single one was someone else's because my next project I sort of had waited on, and we shot some scenes once the script was done that were like action scenes we needed to get in the summer. But I was a pilgrim, or I was an Amish person one week. I was a bar patron another. And that was after shooting all day Saturday for my next project, action scenes. I was in Dasher Slasher. I play a character in that. I have a Halloween short film coming up. There's some other ones I'm forgetting. Like they're already starting to like pile up. I just love acting. I love filmmaking. Creativity's pretty neat, you know. Whatever way you find it, I've met models, photographers, artists just in like a few months of being back, and I just think it's all pretty cool. I love meeting people too. So many of them are so awesome. They're kind of quiet at first on set, but once you get talking to them and get to know them, and you learn you like the same things. Like on Dasher Slasher, there was this one guy, the boom guy's named Steve Morris. He's this awesome filmmaker, and he was just like some quiet guy like me when we met. And then by like the third day, we were talking like best friends. And I told him like, I am gonna work on your next movie, dude. Like I have such confidence in you, like with the knowledge you have. He's done a few movies I have not yet gotten to see, just because I got back from Tennessee or Indianapolis. And then that it's just been run and gun with stuff because my own projects too. I mean, if you guys have seen anything from them, they're shot on iPhones, but it ain't point and shoot. I get like, got like seven of these to randomly light shots. There's like, precise stuff we need. There's things with continuity that need to align, like in the overall continuity of the story, not just, the scene itself. Uh, so yeah, you could say I'm a freelance filmmaker, actor. I've done just about everything that you can on the film circuit. Uh, Not like professionally. Real movie sets are so slow. Like I can't even believe how, like, hurry up and wait. You guys are familiar with like to actually be on these real sets for like 14 hours is insane. After we shoot for 3 hours on one of my shoots and get like four scenes that I'm incredibly happy with. And then, you go to a 14-hour day and the director's like not happy and an actor didn't show up. And it's like, oh boy. That's the reality of things, though. I've learned a lot of people have had bad luck on sets and had bad experiences. I've only had one like night of shooting that I look at. I'm like, that was terrible. I hated it. It was actually recently, and it was worse because it came after the best night of shooting on Dent with Marley. I was just like, felt on cloud nine, and then that Wednesday, it ended up that shoot was so terrible it ended up costing me $1,000 actually, uh, which I don't say lightly, but and nobody had a good. It was a disaster. It was rough, cold and wet. But I've had great experiences. I've done a ton of stuff. I was an extra. I've been an extra a ton because I want to either be in control of everything or in control of nothing. So I either want to write, direct, star in it, like, just have a say on the production and the people that are there and have like, quality control there, yada, yada. Or just tell me where to stand in like the background of a shot or whatever, like, because I like doing everything and you meet all sorts of people at every level. I have met some of the coolest people, most knowledgeable, awesome, down to earth people uh, on just being extras. Like sometimes, like, oh, yep, just get stationed with this guy and you start talking and you're having lunch with him and craft service and get to know all these other people, filmmakers too. Some people want to act, and as somebody who's like always looking for, actors, I've taken, Marley's done, she's a model and has done short films. She's appeared in movies. She's done this and that. She still doesn't know how good studio catering is yet. Don't tell her. Uh, but then I've also cast people like the old guy in the barn in Dent is John Reimer, who's just my boss for when I was retired. He was just freelance carpenter. He lives close by. My dad wasn't able to help him, and I helped him, and I've just always been working for him. He actually helped us clean up the set, which was nice. I didn't ask him to do that, but I guess impulse took over there. But I just love meeting people, getting to work with people. I think I do want to direct again as a professional career, write and direct. I currently, in retirement, became, I started working like low level and then now I'm kind of managing the place pretty much, but it's an eBay store of electrical motor parts and everything for a big company. And I make sure everything gets shipped out. I oversee things. I make sure stuff's in order. It's really I've risen there. I was actually able to save a decent amount in retirement that has been saved for a house, and now my short films cost money. So slowly, it is nice to get to pay for your own stuff, but once the money's spent, it's like better get something out of this. I'm doing it for fun. But I've managed to do them relatively inexpensively, and I'm actually learning how to do more for less, which is pretty cool. Still shooting on iPhones, but looking to upgrade to a dope camera when the time is right. The mobility is a factor there because if you see him, I think you see how we move the camera and how you can move an iPhone. Like it's just like I feel drunk with the potential, how you can move it around and put it high, put it low. Like I think it's still creatively worth exploring. And
The
I
iPhones are the future of filmmaking, man. They are
right,
um,
right,
untapped potential. We shoot with iPhones, and I
nice.
mean, just the most recent example, you got 28 years later. That was entirely
Yep.
shot with
Oh
iPhones.
yeah. Yep. I saw that opening day. I was so excited. My first movie, Violent Justice, that I made in 2019, we did shoot that on iPhones. That's always sort of been my style. I like the iPhone SE. We're currently using the second generation. It gives me this like 2000s aesthetic that I love when you light it a certain way and you like set the color a certain way on Filmic. We shoot on iPhones because that movie Unsane that Steven Soderbergh did in
Yeah, yeah,
2018. And I thought that was going to take off. I thought people were going to go like, "Oh, everyone's going to do this." And I'm still the only one that's like, "No, you can save so much money by not buying the one expensive heavy camera that you never move. You can buy three and you can move them everywhere, you know? How
yeah.
cool
No,
is
man, I
that?"
love shooting. I love shooting with iPhone. It's like you said, like you just have so many intricate options that you can work with, and aesthetically, I love the way that you use color. I did watch Dent earlier, and your
Thank
lighting
you.
is
Awesome.
fantastic. That was one
Thank
thing
you.
I really wanted to point out because it felt like I was actually watching a like Warner Brothers produced early 2000s TV show, and so
That's awesome.
um,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Cool.
it's
That's kind of my vibe.
yeah,
HBO,
it was
early
good.
HBO. Yeah. Thank you. My lighting is so crazy in that, funny enough. My first film, I never did like lighting like with these. With Zero Hour I had a few, with Dent I had like four, and I never did lighting. I would like color grade later or just film around light, which you're 19, you don't, but with Zero Hour was the first time I ever like lit shots like constantly. There's studio lights, there's tons, even the most casual like daylight scenes, I would have a studio light on me to create this extra light because I just wanted to try stuff and learn. And the reason Dent is so colorful compared to Zero Hour, and I like amp the colors up, was because I was casting Rachel Marley Arnold, and I asked her, I'm like, "What'd you think of Zero Hour? This is the only thing I've done. I haven't done anything in 5 years." And she's like, "Is it going to be the production level quality of this?" And one of the things she criticized, and I told her to be honest, so this is like her opinion, whatever. But she was critical of the lighting and said it wasn't cinematic.
Mm.
Man, I bent over backwards to light Zero Hour. We were in cold warehouses. I had to, like, I really tried, and it's not perfect, but I did the most I could. And for a guy who done nothing. So for Dent, I wanted every shot to have some surreal lighting because it is kind of a fever dream, like a mental health fever dream. We're watching him lose his mind. It's like the editing will start to tell the music, the sound, like everything. But the lighting is the one thing that's like kind of surreal from the start. It's actually, I was able to, I learned so much, and I made these back to back. Like Zero Hour was filmed in March, and Dent was filmed in May, and then came out June 20th. Like it was, I kid you not, man. I was editing that while I was on trips in like Oregon and Pittsburgh and North Carolina. I had pictures to prove it, like of me, like just editing on my laptop, waiting for a plane during the layover. But I really wanted to try stuff with the lighting, and every shot has lighting somewhere. There's some shots where I'm like, we could have lit a subject better, but we were moving so quick and we were working in small rooms sometimes, there's only so much. But thank you. I'm glad you like the lighting. I worked incredibly hard on it. I mean, you can tell, but uh it
It's
wasn't
one thing
easy,
that
but I think it was worth it.
it's one thing that's always lacking on our productions because we are so much of a run and gun guerrilla. We don't have permits. We don't have actors. It's literally just
Yep, that's
as
yeah, okay, yeah,
ground
yeah.
level as as ground level as you can get. Where like you have a plan, and then everybody decides that they're just gonna sleep in and not come that day. And it's like, okay, well,
Oh,
we're on the fly redo this. We're gonna run from cops. We're gonna throw this dummy off of this bridge, and we have to crawl underneath it to get the get the wide lens shot, and then also I have to jump into this river
Uh,
and dig this thing out of it, and so yeah, I mean that's
you're
really the
listing off my future problems. I'm gonna have to do all this shit eventually.
uh, that's
For
the
for
funnest
for the
bit for me.
record, I didn't sleep in. I just didn't want to go.
Yeah,
I've had people sleep in on 0 hour, extra sleep in. Yeah, it happens.
when your partner decides he's not going to come that day. But,
Oh.
but like, like it's it's always something, and it's just like lighting is the last of my concerns because as much as I want to have something that looks so legit, I know that
Hmm.
the challenges that I'm facing that day are just going to supersede that. And it doesn't matter how masterful my light game is. If I have to rewrite my script on the fly, and then when I originally wasn't planning to even act in a project, and now I'm the main character, it's like we'll figure it out as we go. It's kind of like it's the motion in the ocean for us over here. What were you not change the subject, but what were you doing in Pittsburgh? That's where I'm from.
Oh, cool. Okay, that's actually, dude, you're getting me on a whole. My life is like a million movies. My brother and I, for the past few years, halfway through retirement, I was like, hey, we should make like a tradition where we go and visit famous horror like movie locations. The first year we did Burkittsville, Maryland, and Pennsylvania for Blair Witch Project and Malevolent slash Bereavement. The second year we did Georgia for Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 and The Walking Dead. And this
Nice.
year we did Oregon for a whole bunch of stuff. Fire in the Sky, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, Spiral. Kate had a video game, Days Gone. But this year I've actually had like 8 trips because there's just been so much stuff. Like I've been to Vegas because that was a trip that fell in my lap. My buddy was going away in Michigan, so we went and saw where like Scream 4 was shot, and then the next day I went and saw where like It Follows and Don't Breathe were shot. But Pittsburgh, I've actually been there. I had not been there until March of this year, and I've been there 3 times since. Twice in March, um, at the start of March, at the end of March, and then in June. The reason we went was because the Monroeville Mall was bought by Walmart, and as
Yep.
location guys,
Yep.
this was something that was, yeah, you've heard about this. This was 10 years
Oh
off
yeah.
this trip, but and we were like, oh my God, we have to see it. Like we're on borrowed time now. I went there in March and we did a quick. We actually that day was just the mall and like some Zack and Miri spots, and we ended up going to Evans City where Night of the Living Dead was shot. I saw a whole bunch of like the whole day just went totally nuts. And that's actually there's 2 shots in Dent from that first trip. During when Harvey's driving, there's some shots of houses. There's 2 of them, and I can pinpoint them because they don't have lenses on them because I just shot them like randomly. Still on filmic and everything. But the second time we went back was the end of March, and Rick Catazone, who was the artist for Creepshow and whatnot, had an event where he was like adding a Evil Dead 2 thing to the museum. There was a screening of Evil Dead 2, and he was like signing stuff. And so we went to that. And that's where most of the city, and by the way, if I don't know if I mentioned that, but all the city stuff in Dent, the big city stuff is Pittsburgh.
Okay. I thought
Do
it
you know that?
looked a little familiar.
That was Pittsburgh. That was all. Some are Martin locations, some are this and that. But my new car that I got last summer had a sunroof, and I'm still getting used to that. Like the opening credit shots of the city, we were just at a stoplight, and I just pointed it up through the sunroof. I'm like, whoa, that looks so cool. Like with a wide lens, that's small and crappy, but I've never used them, so I was amazed by it. All those moving shots when Harvey's driving to Crown Point, that was Pittsburgh, and I was just had my camera, and I'm like, I love this city. It's so cool. And I also went back one last third time for Living Dead weekends in June. And
Okay.
and that was insane because I had like I went to North Carolina in the middle of May for a Cabin Fever event I sponsored, a screening at the camp. Then the next weekend I had shooting Dent. Weekend after that, I was in Oregon. Weekend after that, I had more shooting for Dent. Weekend after that, oh no, wait, no, I didn't have shooting for Dent. Weekend after that was Pittsburgh, Living Dead weekends, and then I had pickup shots for Dent on the 14th of June, and then it came out the 20th. And I was on all these vacations, like I was in Washington, I was in Philly on layovers, like editing Dent, in Pittsburgh a ton at my Airbnb, like because you're on vacation, but it's still like this. I set a release date. I got to stay true to this, and you've seen Dent. That thing's a behemoth. Huge. I did not
Yeah,
intend for it to be that big, and it took all my strength. So the fact people like it, the fact that I'm getting work from it, I'm meeting people from it, I have like directors fanboy over meeting me is like kind of surreal, you know? It's still cool, and it's just came out, like it just started, like, but I love the
yeah.
support, and I love it's so awesome,
So
especially doing stuff like this.
I think I lost him.
Yep. I can still hear you. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
no, he's
All
here.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
All
don't
right,
know. It must have
got
just
you.
been on my end. Yeah.
No, he just
Uh,
Yeah.
it was just the end of a sentence, Drew. You know, when people talk, they do have end of sentences.
you know that I don't know how to communicate. So
You
this is
bickering
it's
hosts.
the absolute worst profession I could have chosen because I'm such a Neanderthal and I don't talk to people except 4 nights a week on our podcast. So to follow up on some of that,
Nice.
we
Oh, we lost him now.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm
You're
back.
back.
I'm back.
Yeah.
All
What
right.
was the
So
question?
so
Cool. I can't
Oh
ask the question
man.
because I don't know what it is.
Yeah, what type it in the chat maybe.
Yeah, I hear you, Drew.
Try it
Hurry
one
up.
more Yeah, you cut out right as you were saying it.
how about now? Can
Curious
you hear
now.
me?
Yeah.
What?
Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm just
go
trying
for it.
to say that in 2026, it seems to be when Walmart is actually going to be shutting the mall down. So there's still going to be
Yep.
some Living Dead weekend stuff going on there. If you desire to
Mm-hmm.
make the trip back to it, there's still some time. We used to do
Yeah.
pilgrimage to the mall once a week. Like I would go Friday after school, and we would just kind of walk
Oh,
around.
sweet.
The, yeah, I
That's
live that
awesome.
close. The one thing that
That's
was
so
always a
cool.
bummer is the only part of the mall that's actually still even remotely the same is kind of like I went to the zombie store that's in there on like the far.
The Living Dead Museum, yeah.
Yeah.
There's just like the one spot that actually is still the same because they remodeled that mall like back in
Yep.
I don't know
Yep.
like '87 or something like that. So
A
it was always
while
fun to like
ago.
do pilgrimages and go there. And there was a store we used to go to Suncoast. So like we would just go hang out and do like zombie stuff, hang out at the museum and then hit Suncoast up. And that was just what we did on weekends. But yeah,
It's awesome.
we would always go over to Evansville as well. And now
Oh man. Evansville.
Loading.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's okay. Are you also in Pittsburgh?
I'm from the same. Well, we both grew up in like the Katanning area. He's a little bit further from me, closer to Pittsburgh, a little bit further. But yeah, he's talking about when we all, we almost died one time trying to go to Monroeville because for some reason we thought it was a good idea to go in the middle of a snowstorm.
Ooh.
there was a car overturned.
Holy crap.
Well, we almost ended up we almost ended up in that situation as well with me behind the wheel. But
Oh
I live in
man.
I live in Cleveland now, so I don't get to Pittsburgh as much anymore.
Gotcha. I've actually gotten to know the people who own the place because I've talked about
Oh,
filming there,
cool.
the
Yeah.
museum. They did tell me when I went in the end of March, they told me it wasn't looking good by the end of the year. But by the time I got to Living Dead Weekends, Larry, who runs the place basically, the convention and is in charge of so much stuff, told me that the lease, yeah, is pushed back till 2026. So he was like, "We're gonna try and do another one." And then right around the time Dent comes out, oh, Living Dead Weekends 2 is announced with the Return of Living Dead cast. And fun fact, actually two things. One, we're gonna actually I'm getting a team together to shoot a scene like incognito for one of these two Fish Tales prequels I'm doing next for part two at Living Dead Weekends for this next one. Uh and just people were filming everywhere. I'm like, oh, just film a little scene, people walking around. I have a really cool extraction scene that we could do right out in the open. But I say that because we've already set up the mall in Dent. Did you notice that that's the Monroeville Mall that Harvey Dent visits, the Gotham Mall?
That
I
went
did
Ever
right
notice
past
not
that?
me.
notice that. Yeah.
Really? There's the
Yeah.
shots of the Cinemark out, and then Harvey Dent on the famous. That was right before the event. I literally, I took the case off my SE, my extra SE. I put a lens on it, and I handed it to Kate. I'm like, all right, quick, follow me down, and just I need a shot of Harvey Dent at the mall he loves. And we got it like literally really quick, and we walked in the event doors. Yeah, that was the Monroeville Mall. That's the Gotham Mall. I made that canon, and in my universe, it gets to live forever because I say so.
Awesome. Yeah,
So,
for real.
boom.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it now again, so I can catch that.
Another thing that's like
There's
super cool about
shots.
that. Oh, I was just gonna say
Yeah.
it's like super cool because in the Dark Knight Rises that was filmed in Pittsburgh, so you're like
Yeah, yeah.
adjacent
And I
to
didn't know
it in
that.
a Batman story.
I did not know that until after the second time we went to Pittsburgh. I was like, what other movies have been shot here? And then other people mentioned Dark Knight Rises to me, and that was like just a cool coincidence. Like, I haven't checked the footage, like, because it's a big movie, and I shot a ton of stuff for there. But I would love if I like filmed a building that's seen in Dark Knight Rises prominently and didn't know it, and it's still in the cut. Like, it could
Yeah,
be there could be one something like how cool is that?
yeah, no, that's
The
awesome.
field, um, the
He
football
was,
field. If you're able to get some shots there, there's a huge
We
scene.
passed
Uh,
that. Yeah, we passed that. Cade pointed out, and I had enough time to get a single photo of it because we were on that highway that like kind of loops around it. And I was not camera ready for that, but I do know where that is. We want to go there and see a game there because that's awesome too.
yeah.
yeah,
Drew, you were talking about Evansville. That's where Night of the Living Dead was filmed.
Yeah, Evans City. There's a shot of
Or
the
I'm
Evans
sorry,
City
Evans
graveyard
City.
too in
Yeah,
the
my
opening of
bad.
Dent. There's a shot in the opening credits of Dent that's like the grave that she's on,
Oh
and it like kind of
yeah,
whips
yeah, you're
over.
right. Yeah.
That's the famous because we were there, and I was like,
Did
I might as well get a shot of this for something.
Did you
And
guys get hassled by the police when you were there?
uh, in Evans City in general, or anywhere
Yeah,
specifically?
at the cemetery.
No, we it was that first day, and I didn't even plan on like doing that much, like I said, but we ended up going to Braddock to see where Martin was shot because it's like I love Martin, got to see that. And I was like, oh, Evans City isn't that far. It was a Sunday. Oh no, wait, it was a Saturday. That's right. It was a very busy Saturday. There was no one there. It started to snow a bit. Like people, I don't think anyone's ever encountered trouble at the cemetery. Seen a lot of videos of
I
people
have.
going there. Oh, you have?
And the first time I
What's
was there,
happened?
yeah, just
Something happened?
tell. No, 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 nothing really happened. They just maybe it's different now, but this is like back in 2008 or 7 when I first
Oh
went, and
yeah.
the
Yeah,
police were
maybe.
like, "Hey, this is loitering. You guys are trespassing. Blah blah blah." And I was like, "We're just taking pictures and stuff." So we got hassled a little
Yeah.
bit, but maybe now
Ooh.
there's not as many people because this was around the
Well,
time when the remake of Night of the Living Dead was doing whatever it was doing.
gotcha. Yeah, no, now they're more the society's more conscious of like the Living Dead fandom. The Living Dead Weekends has actually been hosted in Evan City a few times. I've seen it's maybe 10 years ago, but they did do it for, such a small town. But the cemetery is a neat case because the building that's there was actually built because they raised money to save it because it was going to get demolished. So like the fans put money into that. So if you're not defacing anything or being weird, like I think
Oh,
Evan City's pretty cool with
definitely
visitors
gonna
for it. It's
definitely gonna be
the mall people
weird.
are definitely love it. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I mean
I can't
it's
avoid
an
the weird
odd
part.
that's
Like
the thing too. It's an odd hobby. It's an odd hobby being like finding filming locations because it's like what's a Sears is no longer there, and this person's house is this person's house, and it's like
well, we used to drive
it's
around
case
just
by
the
case.
cemeteries in general. Like it wasn't even for any reason. We would just go to cemeteries. So
I've done a bit of that. I've filmed at there's so many cemeteries out in the country where we are. Like I have like 5 cemeteries within 2 miles that are small and visually neat. So if I ever need a scene there, oh, yeah. Or if I want to piece out to one. I've done that actually. You're not alone.
So,
You gotta go back
uh,
to Evan City though, without the police hassling you, because it's pretty cool.
That'd be great. Yeah.
I'm real curious about. You had said that one of your next projects you want to do is a Giallo. I have a love hate relationship with Giallos, so I wanted to kind of get a little bit of info on that. Um,
Oh, awesome. I'm being asked about my next projects. Like I'm a hot shot. Well, this is kind of the reason I wanted to make movies again was because a buddy showed me in 2022, he showed me Suspiria. I had never seen it. I know it's not technically a Giallo, but I'm getting there. That
arguable,
leads me to
arguable.
discovering, I know, but it's got the paint job of it, but demon hands and stuff, you know? It
Yeah.
actually goes full Giallo for those few moments with I was shocked rewatching. I'm like, oh, it's flat out okay. But that led me to discover Argento. And some of his films, I didn't get at the time, and the later half of his career I don't really care for past Stendhal syndrome, but he has like five or six movies that I find so fascinating and so cool. And most of them are Giallos, like Deep Red, Tenebrae. What else I got over on the shelf? I like his Animal trilogy, the first two, and the fact that he has like this production value he was able to add to the genre was so cool to me. And that's kind of as what has inspired my like crazy color lighting, and because I'd watch him like behind the scenes, and he's just like crazy. He's like a madman, just looking 80 pounds and yelling and making these insane images and stuff. So I got thinking on the Giallo and how that's like a subgenre that's it's like been around, but obviously nowhere near as popular as it was. And I was thinking how we've had like American movies that are Giallos, like Saw, Scream. There's I think the new Fear Street had Giallo vibes. It's like a kind of dead subgenre that sort of morphed into like the American sense, and I wanted to take like the Giallo like bones, like the base, the approach to the story, the who done it, the searching in your memory, epic romance and so some of these elements that I like some of the bougier Jollos, and I really notice those like high quality things in the writing or production. But take all those elements and like set it in the middle of Ohio where I live, because I live out in the country, but there's tons of nice houses on my road. I've house sat for people like Ohio gets a bad rap, but like there's some like there's nice houses everywhere. And I have house sat for some, my boss lives down the road in a castle. He's awesome. Uh, and we'll just get drinks sometimes, like in his two-story garage, which is so cool. And I was like, yeah, if you can make like a Jalo set here and make it about like, it could comment on things like classism and socialism that like I notice and encounter out here, or maybe don't encounter directly, but how like you're a big shot based on how much money you make. And I've seen internal workings of rival companies that's all sorts of illegal and scary, and people just inherit money that they didn't earn, like insane amounts, and then they let that dictate their personality. Uh, I wanted to make it I want to make it kind of like Dent, the inverse of Dent, where Dent is kind of about a rich guy that falls for a poor girl. Uh, it would be about a rich girl that falls in love for a poor guy. And he would basically, she'd be an exchange student. They'd be, like young people just out of high school or college or some such. Because I've like talked to girls who have had these exchange students, like just stay with them for the summer. And I'm like, oh, okay. She'd be like a rich girl exchange student, and she'd fall for this local boy, who's probably like good looking, but just doesn't make a ton. But he knows people, and he knows and she doesn't. And I thought if you put those two characters like on a converging path and have like a cool murder mystery romance where you could really look at all these cool themes, like it's really excited me. And it's kind of the only movie since returning to directing that I've been like, that's exactly what I want to make. I think, especially with when you see how I move the camera, like that's Giallo inspired too, with how Argento will just have crazy spins and stuff like for no reason. Uh, yeah, the stuff I could do, and also a reason I'm doing this again, and why I also want to produce short films other people can make for my channel and other projects and whatnot, is because I have abandoned warehouses. I have the church from Dent. I have like all these places that people just offer me, and they say, "Hey, you can film here. Do whatever you want." So I'm like, "Yeah, we just now need the people and the equipment, and but location's like a huge thing. I never once have ever had to pay for a location or worry about the cops being called on us. To be fair, I don't live in the big city. uh, and I know people, and I'm never quite throwing bodies off bridges or doing anything. I'm not walking around like the fish on Main Street. As fun as that would be, I just don't want to bother with permits and stuff. I mean, Harvey Dent driving we can do, the fish going through the car wash we can do, uh, fish and axes fight scene in the middle of the street. That got cut from my current project because I just don't want to deal with it. But they'll have a fight scene somewhere else, which is cool. But yes, basically, uh, and it would the Giallo would also be called In View of the Canton Killer. Because or In View of the Crawford Killer. I have a few titles I'm working with because there's different Ohio. Because it would be I wanted to be like Ohio in roots to a degree because I'm from here and I know so much of this place. Love it or hate it, it's still a state. People live in it. There's still good things to it. I know a ton of cool spots and I know a ton of stuff about businesses. I think that concept, what I've basically told you guys about like this like classism romance amidst a Giallo, which it'd be like how Dent is kind of I call it a proto Giallo because I was kind of testing the waters for hyperreal lighting. I wanted the like staircase shot spinning when he's coming down. That kill too. The knife being raised, we had to like light that. We did like 20 takes because I wanted to get it just right. And there's a quick shot of her hitting the camera accidentally. She got too close once and I was like, that's the take. She didn't like hit the lens and break it, but like just off to the side, tapped it. She's like, sorry. I'm like, no, no, no. I think that was the shot. I think that was great. Um, I say Dent is a Giallo down to a T, except there's no killer reveal, but there is a killer. So I think
Right,
I
right.
checked a good amount of boxes there. But that's pretty much what I was thinking. I think it'd be a cool summer project. Depending on the what type of camera I could use. I've wanted to switch to the black magic because people have encouraged it, but I mean, I could put up the budget for the movie. Like, if I shot it on iPhones, like an easy 10 grand, I could write that check and make that movie myself. I can make that right now. But I've wanted to switch to the black magic, and right there between, I need at least two cameras. Like, I need coverage. That's so many of these short films. They don't have like multiple cameras, and they just can't get this coverage. Like my scenes, they need to breathe. I need like shots for this. There might be shots you need for this or that. Uh, yeah, it's the whole ordeal. But I try to stick with it.
Have
It's
you
it's it's
considered
really hard.
Indiegogo?
People have asked me that. Uh, I have considered it. If I was shooting on the black magic, I'd really have to consider it, but I'm not sure. I've had like regular people tell me like, "Oh, you should do an Indiegogo. I'd so support it." And I've had other people tell me, like bigger people who could just put up the whole budget themselves, be like, "Yeah, that's not a bad idea. That makes sense." But there's a factor of times being tougher now, and it takes something to ask for money, which I didn't have to do for my entire retirement. So to go back to it would be, I get it, part of the process, but not a step I'm yet ready to make. And I've also on all these sets, because I've been on one each week, I've always repped with the cinematographers. I show them my photos, like talk about the iPhone, what it can do, what it can't do. Most of them, while they say the Blackmagic is best for shooting, if I don't know it best, if I know the iPhone best and how to maneuver it and whatever, and I'll pitch them the Giallo because they'll know what that is because they're horror guys. And I'll tell them about, I want to do like a sweeping shot like this or something like this. They usually recommend I get like a really good iPhone and use that and try to make that as good as I could, which is probably what I'm gonna do for this first Giallo if it enters development like it probably will in the next few years. Because they were saying the iPhone 17 shoots in 8K, which I don't need, but I think that's cool. Get two of those. I got a ton of expensive lenses I bought for these past few shoots. Um, I would not be opposed to an Indiegogo though, if I'm being honest. I would need
I mean,
help with it though, because I've never done that. I've never set one of those up.
it's a total pain in the ass from everything I've ever been told, but I've been told that by people who have like crazy success on it, like raising 10 grand. You just have to
Mm,
you have to
you
be
do get
ready.
some cases. You get some cool stuff. Like, Blue Ruin was kickstarted. I was reading today. Super Troopers 2, I remember that was kickstarted. Like, it's a legitimate way of doing things, but I haven't. A big factor is I haven't needed investors, or I haven't needed, like, to do this yet. So I'm not even quite in that mindset. But that Dash, have you guys heard of Dasher Slasher?
Yeah.
That's a project. Do you know that I'm involved in that?
I think you mentioned that.
There you go. Now you
Yeah.
know. I kind of produced it. I helped them out with production. I did a ton of lighting and stuff, but that was an Indiegogo campaign. And I think I got like 60% of the way, like, and that was after a lot of effort, and I definitely chipped in more than I'd like to admit. Uh, it was like, to see them not make it, I was like, is that enough? Does that mean they like fail? But they got to keep it. They got to use it. It went to good use, I'll say. But that was my first time like seeing it up close, like helping with it, and then seeing the other side of it. And I believe it's a nightmare because producer lady talked about it, and something she complained about how hard it was. Why she has like four campaigns going at once, couldn't tell you.
But all right, man. Unfortunately, we have to kind of cut this now. Are
Nope.
you?
Okay,
Am I
cool.
what now?
We at the end of every podcast we always ask everybody if they promote anything that they might have. I know you've done that already, but we have the link up
Yeah.
here, the Daniel Verse 77 on YouTube, and if you got anything else, go ahead and throw it out.
I would say check out my YouTube channel. It kind of these shorts were on someone else's channel, now they're on mine, and they've really found new life. And it's kind of where I want to make these five as my reel and just have them here, and people can look at them whenever. They're kind of my gift to the world. I've had such a good retirement. I wanted to do it again. My socials
Cool.
are all the Danielverse something or Carter Daniel. It's pretty easy to find if you want to follow me on anything, but mainly YouTube and Facebook is where I promote myself now. Just getting out there, meeting people. Just love to hear filmmaking stories. I'd love to inspire other people to do this because it's pretty fun, honestly. So far, I know it can be a hassle for most people, but I've almost exclusively had fun on these shoots and just want to keep it going. So, yep, you can find me on the Danielverse, and my socials are Danielverse or pretty much Carter Daniel. And my next two projects are coming. My first one's coming in October, the second one January, but they are two prequels to Fishtails. And they tie in heavily to both Fishtails Zero Hour and Dent. So much of Dent is setting up this prequel, like it's right in plain sight with files and names and objects and people. It's just like cinema is like a magic trick. Like I just slid it in front of you and no one saw, but hey, it's there. So when you rewatch it after these prequels, you're gonna see a whole bunch of stuff characters talked about, like if they're alive or not. We'll see. But those are my next two projects. I was editing one all day. I've been shooting scenes a ton. I'm producing whatever. Yeah, if you love movies and filmmaking or just want to chat, hit me up. Check out my work. Let me know. I love reviews, even if they're not positive. The fact anyone cares enough to watch, let alone write about it's awesome. So
Sure.
just love to know what people think, what I could do better, what I could do worse, and I'll keep at it. And I can promise it'll be visually dazzling, whatever I try.
Yes, you definitely have a keen eye. It sucks that we had that connectivity.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, it's like,
oh my gosh, dude.
right. What are the
Literally,
chances?
Yeah. I had to download
yeah,
Chrome though too, so I had to.
Yeah, it does. It sucks. We're working through some kinks with the platform switching stuff, so we appreciate your patience.
Please come
No,
back.
this is cool.
and-
I've never.
Yeah,
No, I've never done one of these. This is I did my first Zoom ever 2 weeks ago for a production meeting. This is like my first other anything. So no, I've had a great time. This has been cool. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
I
we
would
definitely.
I would love for you to come back so that we could talk more in depth. There's so much more that I want
Absolutely.
to get into.
Yeah, yeah. I love answering. I hope I didn't talk too much. I tried
Nah.
covering everything.
That's perfect, man.
but-
That's
Tight.
we love it. But
Yeah,
I'll
I'd love to
reach
come
out
back.
to you. I'll reach out to you probably relatively soon to set that up because I feel like we didn't even
Cool.
really get to, just on the very tip
I'm
of
pretty
the
happy. I
iceberg.
think we covered the bare essentials, though, if you want to get to know me and what I'm doing right now and where I'm at. But freelance
Cool.
film criminal. That'd be me.
Awesome. All right, brother.
Right.
I think we did it for now.
Right.
We'll reach
Awesome.
back out, and we'll definitely in show notes. I'll include all your links and stuff. Yes,
Awesome.
thank
Cool.
you again, and
Yeah.
until next
Yeah.
time.
Yep.
JT,
We'll see you,
able
man.
to hit that outro?
The preceding program has been brought to you by the Watchers Podcast Network. If you enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends to help grow our network. Check us out on all social media platforms, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. And until next time, thanks for your support.